financial advisor at Mass Mutual, New Jersey. He is a life insurance expert. Let me welcome back to the show the one and only Harry M. Harris. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for coming in this Thrive Thursday. What's on your mind today? Tell us some things we need to know.
Two things. First, we're going to talk about three things that impact the cost of your life insurance. The first, of course, is how much insurance you want. And of course, like anything else, the more you want, the more it costs. The second is the age at which you buy it. The younger you are, the more cost-effective your life insurance premium will be. And here's the thing, I'm going to diverge a little bit, but it's the quality of your health. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be your own advocate when it comes to your health. It should be one of the most important things that you can take advantage of. If you're less than 50 years old, you have never bought a pack of cigarettes where on the side it says, the Surgeon General has determined that smoking can be hazardous to your health. Why do we keep doing that? You have to be your own best advocate. Take care of your health. Are you too heavy? Are you too thin? Gentlemen, when is the last time you've been to the doctor? If you're an African-American male of a certain age, chances are you know somebody, you can touch 2 or 3 of your fellow brothers who have been impacted by prostate cancer. It wreaks havoc in our community. Guess what? You don't have to have that digital exam anymore. You can get a blood test. You ask your doctor for a PSA test, and then they can determine whether or not you might need further treatment or a change in your lifestyle. So that's what I have to say about life insurance for the cost of it. And I implore all of you to take better care of your health, particularly you guys. Because I feel good. Yeah, go to the doctor.
I love that PSA. Harry M. Harris, let's go back to number one. And I want to break down 1, 2, and 3. First, before we get to that, how much does life insurance cost? And typically, give me a composite, say a person who's 50, say a man that's 50. Nope, there's that. So is it tailored to each person? Is there a range?
It's by men and women, and the information that's been collected over hundreds of years about mortality tables. Those tables are updated every 20 years or so. So right now,
wait a minute. So the actuaries, and are there any Black actuarians out there? 866-801-8255. I actually do know one personally, but the actuarians will put together this table. But is there bias in the tables, right? So if the numbers say
everybody's Black people born, everybody's gonna leave here.
Okay.
The bias comes in culturally, how we are treated within the society, how well we eat, how well we don't eat, how much income we have, where we live. Is it we live in the Northeast? Is it a polluted area? Those are things that impact it, not necessarily the color of your skin. Not necessarily.
So somebody living in Arizona or Nevada, not Nevada, what's that?
How about Arizona, Nevada? I got folks out there. Yes.
Okay.
They get
New Mexico. I'm thinking about where there could be healthy, good air. New Mexico. Let's take New Mexico as a place. If you live in New Mexico, it's great sunshine, there's air, good air. Maybe you got some water. Is your life insurance going to be less than somebody living in Baltimore?
No.
Okay.
It looks at age. It looks at the quality of your health. Are you overweight? You've been smoking? What are you taking medications? Everybody asks you that question. Are you taking medication, taking high blood pressure medication? Well, if your blood pressure is controlled by medication, that's not an issue. If you've been treated for, let's say, cancer or one of those serious illnesses, yes, that's going to have an impact, but not where you live in a general sense for what state you live in. No, those tables are for everyone.
Okay. So what is the range? Because I still don't have a handle on how much I should be paying for life insurance. And I know it has to do with how much insurance I want.
My answer to that question is, why haven't you called me? Okay, listen. Every company has published rates for their life insurance company. So I can't just say, oh, you're 40. Had you asked me that question ahead of time, I could have told you a male, 50 years old, X amount of insurance, here's in good health, here's what it's going to cost from Mass Mutual.
Okay.
Male, female, I could give you that. I'll email that to you at some point.
Okay.
But
All right.
I'm
Well, I
not-
figure you look at these things all the time. So a person that might want, and again, how do you determine how much life insurance you need? Is there a formula for that?
Here's what I do. Very simply, how much assets do you have? How much will you need? How much, if you were to go away tomorrow, the people that you are protecting, how much would they need? What would they need? And you subtract the assets that I have that I could use to take care of them. Now, is there going to be a shortfall because my children are going to college in 5 years or 10 years? And then you say, okay, well, I need this much. I have this much. The difference is that might be what you would use to calculate it. I look at it this way. I sit down with family and said, let's make this real simple. What is your financial contribution to the family right now? What is it that you make? Okay, you have a 2-year-old. Okay, you need 20 years of insurance coverage until that 2-year-old is now out of college at the very minimum. So look at the financial contribution that you're making right now. $100,000 times 20 years. What is that? About $2 million. So that's a lot of insurance. Well, let's look at what your budget is, and then we can break it down between what types of insurance that we need. Let's look at term insurance, which is going to be the most affordable, which provides you with protection. There's no cash buildup inside, so you can't take a loan against it. Whole life, universal life, variable and universal, those are policies that accumulate cash inside because of the various ways that they are prepared. They are, because they build up cash, they're a little bit more costly. So we look at your budget and we try to come up with a balance to provide you with the protection that you need at a price that you can afford. That's most important. Do you have a budget for insurance? If you don't, let's talk about it.
Harry M. Harris, financial advisor at Mass Mutual, New Jersey. You can go to Mass Mutual NJ and NYC on the Twitters, and you can go to nj-nyc.massmutual.com. How do they reach you directly?
HM Harris at financialguide.com.
Okay. Now, with everything that's happening go ahead.
908-252-2363.
All right. Slow down. Say that again. All right. HM Harris at financialguide.com and 908
252 2363.
Okay. So those are your numbers. We'll tweet them out. For where we are right now, every day I feel like I'm reading about layoffs and people, companies tightening their belts and folk, you don't plan to be laid off. Like nobody is really prepared for that. Even if you're in an industry where, everybody's following the leader here. How do you, insurance seems to be something that people would cut. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if it's between eating, rent, mortgage, car payment, car insurance, you're going to probably cut your life insurance.
One of the things when I sit down with new folks, with clients, potential clients, I ask them, do you have a budget? What kind of planning have you done? And when we talk about the planning that they've done, we try to build in a cushion somewhere in that budget. So when the unexpected, such as a layoff or a small illness, there's money there to take care of the necessities. So that's one of the things that we talk about.
As a financial advisor during these times when we have high inflation, the interest rates are high, rather, maybe there's inflation. I think it's manufactured, but it's acting like it's real. When we talk about people building emergency funds, because you're a financial advisor as well, what suggestions do you have for people who are still employed? It used to be like 3 months or 6 months of an emergency fund. Are you suggesting that people have longer emergency funds now?
No, that's a great place to start. 3 months for those who have nothing. Listen, let's talk about what happens if. So yeah, we start with 3 months, but right now I'm trying to be a little bit more conservative. 3 to 6 months. There should be an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of your basic expenses. You mentioned interest rates, and people were talking about cars the other day on the news. That people are buying new cars and talking about spending $1,000 a month on a car. Really? Protecting one's family is much more important than paying $1,000 a month on a car to keep up with the Joneses.
Just doesn't feel as good though, Harry. To be concerned about feeding the family when I could be in this nice Mercedes or whatever people were driving. Yes.
That's the other thing. Everybody wants to drive the Beamer, the Mercedes, the Infiniti, and then when it comes to talking about insurance, they want the cheapest thing that they can get. You know what?
Uh-oh. You just said something. So you're saying people value material things more than they do their legacy in their lives. Is that what you're saying, Harry M. Harris?
Much more so. And
so
that's one of the things that we come back to. Every insurance company is not going to fit every person. So we come back and say, listen, I just looked up that new Beamer out there, is that yours? And you're going to argue with me because you don't want to pay $75 a month?
I was reading that Black people, we are insured, but we're underinsured. Last time you were here, we talked about that a little bit. Go ahead. You put up a church finger. Let me know what you need to say.
We talked about that. I was looking at some studies when I was preparing, and that it says that Black Americans, the median amount of insurance we have is about $50,000 compared to about $150,000 for white Americans. And there's a lot of reasons for that. One of the things that I was going to take issue with some of the people in our community is last time we spoke, I was getting ready to talk about that young Black Americans were buying insurance, but that study found they were buying more insurance not because of the pandemic itself, but because they wanted to have a nice send-off. And I was going to say, why are we so concerned about having a nice send-off? And my research today says one of the top 2 reasons for all Americans to buy life insurance is because they want a nice send-off. The number 2 reason is for transferring wealth. And that's something that I think that we should talk about as well.